Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I want to start this video asking you a question. How old do you think you were going to be when you finally retired? Leave a note in the comments, be interesting to see. I know the rough demographic of, people age-wise that watch this channel, so it's an interesting question. To answer it myself, me personally, I wanted to retire at 65, so by my reckoning I've got another 18 years. But I know that that's not going to happen. And the reason that's not going to happen is a multitude of factors. Number one, I was too much of a pain in my 20s. And number two, the way pensions and savings and everything work out, I know that I'm not going to have enough in the kitty to be able to stop at 65. Hell, some people don't stop, do they? They just think, oh, I'm going to carry on forever. Otherwise, if I stop, I'll croak it. That's the way some people think. But in this country, and historically, we've got one of the lowest state pension rates already. What they're talking about doing is means testing the state pension. Yes, you heard me correctly. This is something that's been mentioned before, and it's reared its ugly head in the news again this morning, and I want to run through it with you. Here's the article on the screen here. State pension future in doubt as Labour urged to introduce means testing. Now, the Labour government are going to cop the flak for this, obviously, because they're the ones in power, and I do wonder for how long this has been spoken about, but have a listen, let's follow along. Analysts are urging the Labour government to introduce modest means testing of state pension payments to tackle intergenerational equality. Now, modest means testing, what does modest mean? Means testing? Come off it. And what's this intergenerational inequality? We've got this thing, haven't we, where people are living for longer. So then you get a larger percentage of the population that needs a pension. I've got it in writing from my local MP from a few years ago when I asked some questions with regard to a member of my own family and state pensions. It's a given. So is that what they mean by intergenerational equality? Maybe. But then you've got a generation of folk, my generation really, and maybe the one just in front in their 50s, which are coming into that area where we might want to think about retiring. So what happens to us then? The Intergenerational Foundation is taking aim at the increase in real person public spending for pensioners compared to younger generations. It's like you get to a certain age, you're written off, isn't it? You work for 40, 50, some cases 60 years, and you think you've done your bit. Are you a drain? Is that it? You're thrown on a scrap heap? It's an insult, isn't it? Based on the think tank's research, spending on pensions increased by 55% between 2004 and 2005 and 2023-2024, compared to just 20% for children. To mitigate this discrepancy, economists for Intergenerational Foundation are suggesting Chancellor Rachel Reeves introduce some level of means testing in its latest report. Don't like where that's going. You have things like winter fuel payments. You have the standard bills you have anyway. TV licenses, well, that's another one for another time. And the list goes on. And now they want to mess around with something that you're paying your contributions for every year. Maybe we should means test our national insurance contributions. Would that be acceptable? Maybe. In its list of recommendations, the think tank stated reform the state pension by removing the triple lock and introducing modest means testing. As it stands, all Britons are entitled to the state pension and other age-related benefits once they reach the official retirement age, which is currently 66. Under the triple lock, state pension payment rates are guaranteed to rise annually by either the rate of inflation, average earnings, or 2.5%. The Institute for Fiscal Studies, IFS, estimates that the triple lock increases state pension spending by around £11 billion per year, compared with uprating pensions by inflation or earnings alone, which has raised concerns over its long-term viability. Now, there's a lot of pensioners out there who have got a lot of money tied up in property. They've got money in private pensions. They've got thousands and thousands of pounds worth of savings. And I suppose you could argue, do they really need the state pension on top? But then if you mess around with it for them, then what about everybody else? I don't like where this is going. This just seems like the state pension is a multi-billion-pound noose round their collective, and they want to gradually do away with it. That's just how it feels to me. Based on the Intergenerational Foundation's research, the median individual wealth gap between 16 to 24 and 65 to 74-year-olds soared by 40% in 8 years. This particular figure jumped from £230,400 in 2010-2012 to £323,000 in 2018-2020 prior to the pandemic, financial fallout and cost of living crisis. Under 30s now spend approximately 70% of their total expenditure on essentials, reflecting a 16% increase over the past 20 years. In comparison, the over 65 demographic saw just a 2% increase, with essential spending now making up 56% of their total expenditure. Towards the end of the report, the think tank's economists said government spending per pension has risen while spending per child has barely increased. Pensioner poverty has halved. I don't believe that. While child poverty remains persistently high, mental health issues among young people have surged, yet support services have not kept pace. So, seems they're using the kids as justification, doesn't it? And that could be a video for another time. In politics, the voices of younger generations are increasingly absent. Successive governments, both left and right, have failed to acknowledge or meaningfully address these trends. Instead of addressing structural imbalances, policy choices have entrenched them, generally prioritising the needs and wants of older voters and passing the costs on to younger and future generations. Well, that's the way it's always been, isn't it? The current generation pay for the older generation's pension, but we've got this population explosion. You could blame people living longer, you can blame migration, you can blame all number of things. Despite this criticism, Prime Minister Keir Starmer has doubled down on keeping the triple lock in place and hit back at the Tories over her wavering support for the policy. Last week in PMQ, Starmer said we're on this side of the House are committed to the triple lock, and it increased pensions by over £400 this April. On their side, they say the triple lock is unsustainable. I think her position is she wants to means test. I think all their positions are they want to means test. I think that's just political bullshittery right at the end there. But I find these comments very interesting about the cost difference between the generations. I mean, you look at the 60s, 70s and 80s, the cost of property, the cost of living, the opportunities available to invest and save and grow businesses and all that sort of thing. And you look at how much costs have skyrocketed over, well, probably the last 20 years at least. I mean, take property, for example. I drove past a big billboard the other day, and it was a new housing estate. Affordable housing, they called it. £300,000 starting. Really? Affordable? Come off it. There's a big discrepancy in this generation gap, and it feels like they want to punish the pensioners. I don't know what you think. Let me know in the comments. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. There's about 60% of you that watch currently that haven't subscribed, and I'd appreciate it if you would. Button's down there and it's completely free to do. Please hit the like button. I'd appreciate that very much. Here's my video that I did on the day the TV licence people came knocking, so give that a look. And as always, I look forward to talking to you soon. Toodaloo.